Peter, tell us about these talkbacks because you've actually done them throughout the country in different locations, right?
Yes, Brian and I have done a couple of them together, and they've just been so moving and so inspiring. And Ryan's really funny, so it's really fun to come to them. Um, this came out of well, first of all, New Amsterdam. One of the things that we love about it is that we get to use a hospital genre to talk about all the social issues that we're dealing with in our society right now, whether it's climate change, gun violence, obesity in kids, you name it, we get to deal with it. And this really came out of an experience that I had on one of our early screenings, right after the pilot was made, and we'd gotten picked up, and we screened it in New York. And at the end of the screening, a man came up to me in a wheelchair, clearly from upstate New York, from a more conservative part of New York, and said, please, 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 tell us my stories, not just yours. Mm. And I promised him we would, but then I kind of walked away realizing I didn't really know what he meant. And so in the writer's room, we started talking about, are we sure we're not just in our blue bubble? Are we sure we're telling stories that apply to everybody in the country? And, realized that, we needed to reach out. We needed to make sure that we were able to get beyond our immediate perspectives. And so out of that came this idea that we would go to places that are primarily what are called red state areas, and show an episode of the show. And then Ryan and I would get up afterwards to answer any questions, but mainly so that we could ask them questions, so that we could get their stories, we could hear their perspectives on our show, on what stories are we not telling, or what stories are we getting wrong. And the thing that was really exciting about it is how starved and open people were to this process. We heard, the first one we did was up in Albany, New York, and person after person after person would say, why are you here? No one ever comes here and asks us questions. Uh-huh. And they were as moved as we were. And so it ended up sort of manifesting in a really open, personal, kind of moving conversation. The same thing happened throughout as we went to other ones. And we were going to do one right there in Cary, Idaho, through the Sun Valley Institute, which is an amazing environmental organization of the Sun Valley. They were going to partner with us. We were going to come down there and do the same thing. And literally we're, a week, 2 weeks. Yeah, yes. We were right there on the horizon.
Oh, trust me, it was on my calendar.
We were really excited to come, and then this happened. And so we're going to get there. Eventually, we're going to get there.
That would be amazing, and I know so many people will be incredibly excited. Ryan, weigh in though too on these talkbacks. What's it like? You play the lead in New Amsterdam. You played Dr. Max Goodwin. So what are your takeaways when you had these interactions with the viewers?
Gosh, it's a lot of things. I mean, it's a great idea on, Peter's part, and it's been really fun going along on the ride and meeting real folks. I mean, first, what it does is it just gives the show a sense of immediacy for me that goes out to people, and we're telling stories about people, and we're telling stories about healthcare and the country, and like Peter said, social issues and how those come to play and affect healthcare and hospital and things. So it makes the show a little more real for me, which I like. And it's a conversation with folks about their own experiences with the healthcare system, with the family member, with themselves, things that they want to see in life that could happen more, or ups and downs they've had, all these things that then Peter and the writers can take and process and reflect on the show. And lastly, I would just say that I see what this character, not myself, but I see what this character, Max Goodwin, can mean to people in the sense that he's an ideal for positive change and wanting to help. And so that's exciting too.
Yeah, very exciting. And given the fact that New Amsterdam weaves so much of real life events into it, there's this thing called a pandemic. I'm wondering, are we going to see some of that reflected in the new season development?
Well, given that we're a show that's basically based on Bellevue Hospital, which is not only the oldest hospital in America and the biggest public hospital, it also was at ground zero for the initial stages of this pandemic. It went through the hottest sort of zones of this so far. And so we have to deal with it. We have to address it. It has to be part of the fabric of this next season. You know, we're not going to want to drag everybody through it again by any means, but at the same time, it's the sort of groundwater underneath everything that we're going to be talking about. It's, you know, what'll happen is you know, all of our characters went through that hot zone, through that really difficult time. And so that's the baggage they have to carry into all of the scenes and all of the stories that come next season, which in some way really gives it a tremendous amount of sort of innate ache and stakes, which are great. But yeah, it has to be part of it.
And right now, because of COVID, I know you're not currently in production. You're trying to do your best to get there eventually, but people can still enjoy New Amsterdam in a unique way now too, right?
Yeah, Peacock. It's just launched recently, and you don't have to like stumble around and try and find it on Hulu or out of someone's DVD collection out of their garage. You can actually just go to Peacock, and there it is. So highly recommend everybody do that. That's easy.
Yes.
I'm also selling some VHS tapes if anyone's interested. I'm not employed as an actor right now, so just as a little side cash if anybody wants to reach out.
Those are actually his personal tapes of him growing up in California. They're really quite fun.
And I just wrote New Amsterdam on it, so I'm hoping it'll. Yeah.
Be careful, because there may actually be people who actually are going to be requesting that. Right? Just